फर्स्ट का सेकंड वाला 12 ना पहला वाला हो गया हाँ कितना लिखा वो दोनों लिखा हाँ दोनों और मैंने इधर लॉक कर दे क्यों ये दो सोना हाँ बराबर क्यों नहीं आ रहा बात करने बंद कर बाकी मत कर उसको डिले से बात कर बिल्कुल साला है पार्टी को बोलना दोनों को भेजा ये जीप चार्जर नहीं लग रहा है इसका हिंदी आ रहा है बता दिया पूछ रही है कभी बोलो इधर ही
और पूछ के आ गए बोला
आ रहा है क्या क्यों नेक्स्ट लेक्चर मतलब तो अभी नहीं आ रहा रिकॉर्ड नहीं बोलना
इसको क्या है भाई क्या करता रहता है
देखो बोल रहा है रिकॉर्ड किया तो
कंज्यूमर राइट्स आ रहा है कंज्यूमर राइट्स सिलेबस में ही नहीं आ रहा
क्यों साफ नहीं आ रहा वो अभी नहीं आ रहा बोल लगा था उधर बाहर ना फोटो बोल रहा
अगर यार छोड़ सेकंड को उससे ही चाहिए होगा तब जिस दिन वो दोनों क्या है इतना चाहिए बोलो क्या करते हैं हमारे फ्रेंड भी है
उसके साथ बैठता हूँ
बोलो एग्जिस्ट टाइप्स करते हैं इतने बहुत अच्छे हैं यार नहीं ऐसे बहुत से क्या अरे वो नहीं अच्छा वही तो बोल रहे हैं दोनों को दो बार मॉर्निंग डांस को 2 साल से क्या ही पड़ेगा
He's not coming.
He was. Yeah, but
Now we'll forward.
Now we'll try a little, please. Ma'am, please give us a little more. Let's try. Ma'am, she's on something. We're trying to figure out what exactly does she participate in. Yes.
Did you start writing the answers quickly? Then we'll do this one very small lesson. Sermon at Banaras.
something interesting. I mean, you only have 2 more chapters. उसमें कौन सा interest ढूंढ रही है तू?
2 ही chapter है.
अभी और एक for एक chapter, then you're done.
Then already
Entire year, then no more English
already
lecture.
chapter maths का lecture देंगे.
नहीं ओपन खेलने में होता है lecture first दिन को.
खरीदे ऑफ पेज में मेरा मैथ्स अच्छे से.
Who's your math teacher?
आशुतोष सर बोले.
Page 70. Correct. 70.
ये इसको
Can the pronouns he and him be appropriate for the pilot, or are we uncertain about this gender?
No. He and he will do. Him would do.
First question. Oh my God. Move. I
First, tell me the answer, then you go. Quick.
I can say the first. Ma'am, can I say? Yes, you can say you are the best.
No.
Ma'am, seriously,
Why?
miss touching. I don't want to.
Thank you.
Well,
अरे मैं क्या क्या बोल रहा
Quickly tell the answer.
Can I say
You want to give the first answer without theme?
Mom, I have written down the answer.
Yeah.
Belinda and her pets were terrified of seeing the pirate. Belinda became pale, Custard fled with a yell, Ink hid and Blink entered a household. Custard faced the pirate like a villain. He attacked the pirate with his long tail and pounced on him like a robin upon an insect and swallowed the pirate, saving the rest. What message does the poem convey we just discussed?
ma'am, thank you once you.
Thank you.
So now he won't be boycotted?
Oh, ma'am.
You won't boycott him? See you next week.
Thanks for your
You are. You will have to see me for 3 more
Gladly.
classes.
A reason to leave the house on first day.
Will you give this outside?
Bye, ma'am.
Bye. Bye. Write those answers up. Learn and write. Bye. दुखी लग रहा है? A shading block. याद है हम लोगों ने क्या पढ़ा था? 37. So if you remember, this host came to him, to the author, and he said that the two would so she said, yeah, they don't, yeah, when you write exactly how the ghost look, people will not believe. Why would the ghost come to this author?
Because the ghost wanted that this night should
No, she would give him the idea to write the story.
basically to write that basically gives the idea to like
The ghost
he
story.
was the
Yeah.
writer of the idea.
So she would give the ideas to write the stories. Okay. Now that day she showed herself. All these days she did not show herself to him. She would just go there, sit there on his shoulder maybe, and put the idea on his head.
Only the author was able to see.
Or till then nobody had, even the author had not seen her. Okay. Yeah. He just got the idea.
Somebody.
Yeah. He just got the idea. And he also used to wonder, how did I get this idea? It was she.
He was not doing that. Then the
No,
ghost.
no.
And then suddenly
Suddenly,
he out.
yes. Suddenly she came and she told him that please you somehow stop the Bija. Why? That was keeping all the ghosts awake. They had to stay awake answering all sorts of questions. This is part 1. Then what happens that same day? His wife comes home. She tries telling her not to play with it. She should return it. She doesn't agree. The next day he goes to office, and then he forgets all about Bija board because he is very busy in the office. When he comes back home, he sees there are many guests in the house. Some preparation is going on. So what is happening? The wife has invited all her friends with their Bija, and they're going to play. Now there is one friend. What is her name? She is. She doesn't have a partner. Yeah, Laura Hinkle. Laura Hinkle doesn't have a partner. So his wife says, "You please sit with him." He's reluctant, but the wife forces him. When he sits with Laura, the board starts writing whose name?
Helen.
Helen. And who's this Helen actually? The ghost. Okay. So she wanted our Laura. She's surprised. And who's this Helen? Why is it the Helen? And she keeps trying. And the Jago tries to talk to the author. And what does it say? It's called. Did we read this? Traitor.
Yes. I think we should start with 102 or 101.
Okay.
Because the Helen word is the last one remembered, so mostly we are complete.
Yeah. So Helen, first the Helen word came, and then there were these words started to spell out traitor, and apparently all the words started to spell traitor. Let's read from 93. or 94. I don't know. I said that 92. नहीं तो वो लिंक नहीं समझेगा क्या पढ़ रहा है. Okay. Vija dear, won't you tell us something? She cooed. And on the instant, the thing seemed to take life. It rushed to the upper left hand corner and the board and hovered with the front leg on the board. Yes. The Vija board said yes. Then it began to fly around so fast that I gave up any attempt to follow it. My companion was bending forward and had started to spell out loud. Traitor. Traitor? Why? What does she mean? I don't know. I said desperately. The collar felt very tight. But she must mean something. Disha dear, won't you tell? Won't you explain yourself more fully? Ask him. Ask him. Ask who, Vija? I'm going. I choked and tried to get up, but my fingers seemed to stuck to that dreadful board and I dropped back again. Apparently, Miss Hinkle had not heard my protest. The thing was going around faster than ever and she was reading the message silently with her broad corrugated and the light of the huntress in her pale blue eyes. Why she says it's you, Mr. Halla? What does she mean? Lija, won't you tell us who is talking? I groaned. But that exorable board continued to spell. I always did hate a spelling match. Miss Hinkle was again following it loud. Helen, she raised her voice until it could be heard at the other end of the room. Lavinia, dear, do you know anyone by the name of Helen? समझा किसका नाम आता है वहाँ पे? Helen, now you.
By the name of I can't hear you, and my wife made her way over to us between the book club's chair. You know the funniest thing has happened? She whispered excitedly. Someone had been trying to communicate with John through Mrs. Hunt and Mrs. Sprinkle's Ouija. Someone by the name of Helen. Why, isn't that curious? What is? Miss Hinkle's syndrome.
Simple. Smile. You know, somebody is trying to communicate. Everybody started talking now.
Someone giving the name of Helen has just been calling for your husband here. But we don't know anyone by the name of Helen. Lavinia stopped and began to look at me through narrowed lids, much as she had done in the library the evening before. And then from different parts of the room, the other manipulators began to report. Every
Plate
one of those 5 Ouija boards was calling me by name. I felt my ears glow, crimson, purple, maroon. My wife was looking at me as though I were some peculiar insect. The squeak of Ouija board and the murmur of conversation rose louder and louder. And then I felt my face twitch in the sparkle of that idiotic gleam. I tried to strengthen my red features into the usual semblance of humanity. I tried. Doesn't he looks like? Said Mrs. Hinkle. And then I got up and fled from the room.
Doesn't he look sly? That means doesn't he look sly is usually, cheater, basically. Sly means cunning, deceitful.
Now can you explain this 109?
109. At different parts of the room, other manipulators began to report. That means they were sitting, in different boards. All the boards started saying Helen, and all boards started saying Traitor, Helen. And everybody started saying yes, even Helen is trying to talk to John from here. Helen is calling John Traitor. So they all started looking at him. Okay, there was murmured conversation because they were talking softly, and when everybody started talking softly, suddenly it became very loud. And doesn't he look sly? Said Miss Miss Eagle said, doesn't he look sly? That means doesn't he look like a cheater, a cunning man? He must have probably cheated with his wife and must be having some affair with Helen. That's what they thought.
I do not know how that party ended. I do not want to know. I went straight upstairs and undressed and crawled into bed and lay there in the burning dark while the last guest gurgled in the hall below about the wonderful evening she had spent. I lay there while the front door shut after her, and Lavinia stepped came up the stairs and passed the door to the guest room beyond. And then, after a couple of centuries elapsed, the clock struck 3, and I dozed off to sleep. At the breakfast table the next morning, there was no sign of my wife. I concluded she was sleeping there, but Cladonia, upon being questioned, only shook her head, muttered, muttered something, and turned the white of her eyes up to the ceiling. I was glad when the meal was over and hurried to the library for another try at that story. I had hardly seated myself at the desk when there came a tap at the door and a white slip of paper slid under. I unfolded it and read, Dear John, I'm going back to my grandmother. My lawyer will communicate with you later. Oh, I cried. Oh, I wish I was dead. And that's exactly what you ought to do, said that horrible voice from the other end of the room. I think this all like most is doing or seriously
See, you know what happened? Yeah. So yeah, the previous day night, she did not come to his bedroom to sleep. She slept. Even she was not there the next morning. She was not there at the dining table. He thought she must be sleeping. Then what happened? One chip came, white chip came, and was somebody pushed the chip in his room in the library. When he opened it, it was written by his wife. She says she is going back to her grandmother, and her lawyer will communicate.
What was it written that horrible voice from the other end?
Then the ghost was speaking. Okay, so he said, oh, he's shocked, right? And his wife is leaving him. So he's like, oh, I wish I was dead. So that's exactly what you ought to be. That is said by the ghost. And then he hears that horrible voice again from the other end of the room.
No, I thought if he's like the ghost is saying to maybe like he's doing this or
No.
some fake or something.
No, the wife, the ghost is angry because the ghost had asked him to stop Ouija board. Instead of stopping, he also started playing. So he is upset with, the ghost is upset with that. I sat up abruptly. I had sunk into a chair under the glow of the letter. Then I dropped back again and my hair rose in a thick prickle on the top of my head. Coming majestically across the floor towards me was a highly polished pair of thick lace shoes. I stared at them in a sort of dreadful fascination, and then something that about their gait attracted my attention and I recognized Singer. I said sternly, what do you mean by appearing here like this? I can't help it, said the voice, which seemed to come from a point about 5.5 feet above the shoes. I raised my eyes and presently distinguished her round, protruding mouth. Understood what happened? First, he could only see the shoes coming. Remember, she would appear in parts. So, first, he could only see the shoes coming. Then, he saw the mouth. Then, probably the later part. Okay, so.
What is this protruding?
Protruding mouth, मतलब ऐसा बाहर आया हुआ. Okay. So, there was head, and then suddenly there were shoes. And then suddenly मैं बाहर आया हुआ ऐसे face. Okay. बीच में कुछ भी नहीं दिख रहा है. Why can't you? A nice way to act, to walk in sections. So she was walking in sections. If you will give me time, said the mouth in an exasperated voice. I assure you the rest of me will presently arrive. But what's the matter with you? You never acted this way before. She seemed stung to make a violent effort, for a portion of fishy eye and end of her nose popped into view with suddenness that made me jump. It's all your fault, she glared at me. While part of her hair had played skirt began slowly to take form. She said, it is all your fault. And वो उसका जो प्लेट्स चेक्स चेक्स का स्कर्ट था वो अभी धीरे धीरे दिखने लग गया तो अभी उसका सिर्फ हेयर दिख रहा था शूज दिख रहे थे बीच में कुछ नहीं तो one could see her slowly and in parts. My fault? Of course. How can you keep a lady up working all night and then expect her to retain all her faculties the next day? I'm just so tired to materialize. Then why did you bother? Because I was sent to ask when your wife is going to get rid of that Ouija board. How should I know? I wish to heaven I'd never seen you, I cried. Look what you have done. You have lost me my wife. You have lost me my home and happiness, and you have. Mr. Hallock came from the hall outside. Mr. Hallock, I'm going to quit. I don't like no hoodoos. And the steps retreated. Who was saying this?
Mr. Hello.
First, his servant. अभी तक समझा क्या हुआ? ये बात कर रहा है दोस्त से. तो वो बोल रहा है कि अरे why is she appearing in sections? Because she was working all night, right? So she's tired, and therefore it's taking her time to appear fully. So she says, if you are tired, why did you come here? So she's been sent here to ask when is your wife getting rid of that hijab? She says, I don't know. And see what has happened because of you. My wife is leaving me. I've lost everything. My house, my happiness. And then he hears from outside. His servant, she comes and she tells she's going to leave. She's going to quit the job. Because she doesn't want to, she doesn't like the voodoo. Voodoo means the curse and the charm and talking to ghosts. Okay, that is a voodoo.
This servant or this Mr. Hallock is the good servant.
Mr. Hallock is the author. The servant is, remember there was a servant, she's probably an African American person and therefore she talks like
She
this.
is the servant.
Yes.
So, like, when this author's wife, organized the party, the servant was also playing.
No, servant was there.
Because there was there, na, ki this is, she's been invited.
But she was there in the house, na? Remember when he comes home, he says that there's a party, you go and change, all that. So the servant was there. Probably she was helping her in the kitchen. The servant. So now she comes and says she's going to quit because she doesn't like all this food.
Or she is saying that your wife doesn't like this.
No, the servant is going to quit.
Okay,
because
sir. She doesn't want to
this
live in this
house where they play with the,
visa.
Ouija boards, calling ghosts and all that.
She must be scared or something.
Yes. You have lost me my cook. She was their cook. Sorry. I didn't come here to be abused, said the ghost coldly. I. And then the door opened and Lavinia entered. She wore the brown hat and coat she usually travels in and carries a suitcase which she set down on the floor. That suitcase had an air of solid finality about it and its lock leered at me bracely. That is rudely. So it looked as if that is the final thing. She had packed her clothes, she was leaving him. Okay. You understand what happens in the meantime?
I leap from my chair with accustomed
agility
and sprang in front of my wife. I must conceal that awful phantom from here at any risk. She did not look at me or thank heaven. behind me, but fixed her injured gaze upon the waste basket as if to wrest dark secrets from it. I have come to tell you that I am leaving. She
Staccato. That means she like spoke with what do you say?
in a abuse manner.
In a detached manner. I'm leaving.
Oh, yes, yes, I agree. Flapping my arms about to attract attention from the corner. That's fine. Great.
Why does he react? She's saying, I have come to tell you I'm leaving. And what does he say? Okay, fine.
Must be he doesn't care that
He doesn't care. No, who was there in the corner? The ghost. He didn't want his wife to see the
Yeah.
ghost.
Okay.
So therefore he's making all this hand gesture.
And but the author's wife already went, no?
No, she said she is going to go. She wrote a letter saying, I'm going to my grandmother's house.
I'm going back to my grandmother, my lawyer will communicate.
Yes.
So she
wrote a
went
letter.
already.
No. She was going.
So, ma'am, if she's going, why should like she, leave a letter for him?
अरे she was in a different bedroom. उसने
हाँ.
जाने से पहले she wrote a letter to him
हाँ.
that I'm going. अभी मैं जा रही हूँ. Okay. तो अभी तक वो गई नहीं है. अभी मैं जा रही हूँ. तब तक वो बैग पैक कर रही. Okay.
So you want me to go, do you? She demanded. Sure, yes, right away. Change of air will do you good. I'll join you presently. If only she would go till Helen would depart. I had the devil of a time explaining afterwards, of course, but anything would be better than to have Lavinia see a ghost. Why that sensitive little woman couldn't bear to have a mouse say boo at her, and what would she say to a ghost in her own living room? Lavinia cast a cold eye upon me. You are acting very
Weirdly, differently, weirdly.
She sniffed. You are concealing something from me.
You are hiding something from me.
Just then the door opened and Gladolia called.
You understood who Gladolia?
Yeah.
The cook.
Miss Hello, I have come to tell you I done
Yeah.
left this place.
I said, done left this place.
My wife turned her head a moment. But why, Gladolia? I ain't staying around no place long with them Ouija board contraptions. I see scared.
I'm
of-
scared.
I'm
Basically.
scared of hoodoos. I done gone. I is.
Yes.
Is that all you have got to complain about? Lavinia inquired. Yes, ma'am. All right, then go back to the kitchen. You can use the board for getting wood. Who?
Understood? What does she say? She said, okay, that's your only complaint that you don't want to be around Ouija boards. Fine, if you don't want the Ouija board to be around the Ouija board, go back to the kitchen, start cooking and use that to kindle wood, burn the fire.
I'll be the cool to burn it, I shouted. I'll be glad to burn it. Gloria's heavy steps moved of kitchen wall. Then my Lavinia turned suspiciously to me again. John, there's not a bit of use trying to deceive me. What is it you are trying to conceal from me? Who? Me? Oh no, I lied elaborately. I lied elaborately, looking around to see if that dreaded ghost was concealed enough. She was so big, and I'm rather a smallish man, but that was a bad move on my part. John, Lavinia demanded like a war horse. You are hiding somebody in here. Who is it? I only waved
Desire.
and gurgled in my throat. She went on. It's bad enough to have you flirt over the Ouija board with that hussy.
Who's that hussy? She thinks he was flirting over with Mrs. Hinkle, who was that, she's calling her hussy. Okay?
Oh, the affair was quite above board. I assure you, my love. I cried, leaping lightly about to keep her from focusing on Grace behind me.
She thrust me back with sudden muscle. I will see who's behind you. Where is that Helen?
Me and Helen came from the coast. Lavinia looked at, at that aberration, that
Owl-eyed phantom.
owl-eyed phantom in great skirt and stiff shirtwaist with hair squeezed back and no powder on her nose. I threw a protecting husbandly arm about her to catch her when she should faint, but she didn't soon. A broad, satisfied smile spread over her face. I thought you were Helen of Troy, she murmured. I used to be Helen of Troy, New York, said the ghost. And now I'll be moving along. If you'll excuse me, see you later. With
With that, she telescoped briskly till we saw only a hand waving farewell. My Lavinia fell forgivingly into my arms. I kissed her once or twice fervently, and then I shoved her aside, for I felt a sudden strong desire to write. The sheets of paper on my desk spread invitingly before me. I've got the bulliest plot for a ghost story, I cried. Okay, she saw, understood क्या हुआ? So, you know, so she said he was trying to hide because he thought his wife will get scared. His wife was very sensitive. So she suddenly came, she brushed him aside and she said, I want to see what you do is behind me. Who are you hiding here? So she says, he's hiding me, I'm Helen. She looks at her and that ghost-like face. She looks at her and she smiles, he's hiding you. And then she says, yes, and I'm the Helen. So, oh, I thought you were a Helen of Troy. But yeah, I was the Helen of Troy in New York. And she goes. Why does she go?
because she thought that maybe,
Because remember, the wife tells the cook to burn that Ouija board in the kitchen, use it for to
cutting wood.
really to burn. To burn. She tells them to kindling wood. Oh, that Jala also. That is what she wanted, no? So when the minute she agrees to discard the board, she leaves and she goes. And then Lavinia is very happy. She thinks that hey, she got all this while she was thinking there is some woman in Helen with whom he is having an affair. But when the minute she realizes that it was a ghost and not the real woman, she's very, very happy. She hugs his wife and then suddenly pushes her aside, shoves her away. But suddenly he gets lots of ideas in his head and he starts writing the story. Who gives him that idea? So let's mark the answers. What made the writer overconfident about his ability to write ghost stories?
He was always able to write a ghost story whenever he had
To write one. Yes. The slide of the ghost materializing in this room filled the narrator with
fear.
fear. John wants the ghost to disappear before his wife enters the room and waves his arms at the ghost. I'll get a pen and say, I'll mark Do you have an extra pen?
It's black.
Yeah, I don't mind. Thank you. It's direct. This blue.
If you want, you can switch to
I don't mind, but I don't know where this is.
house.
So first was
Option B,
B,
then A.
A. John wants the ghost to disappear before his wife enters the room and waves his arms at the ghost with something of a motion of a beginner when learning to swim. What does it reveal about John? His fear. He was afraid that his wife will see.
Um,
Read the next question.
when the narrator says his wife is never so pretty as when she's doing something, she knows he disapproves of his tone is
Ironic.
The ghost says it's all your fault. It here refers to about the ghost anger.
The ghost says it's all your fault. Here refers to.
Basically, ghost is only saying which is the anger of Nina because
No. Ghost materializing in section. It refers to, because it was materializing in section.
Ma'am, that's okay, but it can be option B also. Maybe it's in a section wise, but that is the anger of ghost of Nina because he told this author to do not play with the Ouija board and
Aye, but he says no, he says, why did you come? Why are you coming like this in section? So she says, it is all your fault. So he says, how is it my fault? That time he says that, yeah, you kept me awake till late in the night. I'm tired. Next.
This question.
What does we refer to?
Just hello.
Yeah, we scout around until we find a writer without ideas and with a mind soft enough to accept the impression. The ghost is saying. So we refer to the ghost community. We means to say we as in the ghost. The ghost community. Select the most appropriate option based on one.
Who is Joanne?
John is the author.
She helped Joanne printing mistake.
कहाँ पे होगा?
Joanne.
हाँ, वो printing mistake हो गया.
Ma'am, I guess option one is in one is independent of two because Helen never helped John.
Helen helped John always
How?
to write stories. Helen is the ghost, and the John did not know, the author did not know how he is getting the ideas. The ghost would never appear, but the ghost would put the ideas in his head. See, we put.
No, I understand that, but it was never mentioned that Helen was the person like who always helped. But suddenly he came that the ghost wanted and no one should no one should pay this fee.
But the Helen was, this John was her assignment always. Each one had one person whose mind was soft and on whose mind they can make impression.
Then is this mentioned in the text?
Yes, it says no. We scout around until we find a writer. To scout around means to find, to look for. हम लोग जा जा के ढूंढते हैं, to look for. We scout around until we find a writer without ideas. We look for a writer who's without ideas, जिसको कुछ ideas आते ही नहीं हैं.
Option B.
One is the result of two. Option D also. 2 is the reason for 1. Because she would help. Because she would help. D is the answer. Because she would always help John. Then head office sent her to talk to John. This is gullible.
What is gullible?
Gullible is just so innocent. We scout around. What is the what purpose does the scouting serve? Looking for the authors. Looking for the authors without ideas.
So what is the option?
Oh,
Watch a photo.
fifth and again now. Select the option that display the appropriate feature that can be associated with task completion as mentioned. Organization, delegation.
Option 1 and 3.
Yes, right.
Delegation.
Let's do these questions. This John,
Really or really?
some answers you write here, some in your notebook. You want a pen? Which genre of stories does Jenkins want the narrator to write?
Ghost.
Ghost stories. Why?
Because somehow the author, Mr. Haddock, was expert in making the ghost stories.
Writing the ghost story.
Writing the ghost stories, and he was one of the famous.
And that was quite popular among the readers. Will you be able to write this first answer?
Will you do these questions or will give me some extra questions?
No, we do these questions only. Does the teacher give you extra questions? Understood the lesson? क्या हुआ?
Yes,
थोड़ा या पूरा?
almost.
Almost whole ना? First answer you know, just write the points. Ghost stories. He was good at writing them, ghost stories.
Well-known writer.
He was a well-known writer, and people enjoyed reading his ghost stories.
People liked it.
To the C one, what makes Helen, the ghost, and her other co-ghosts organize the writer's inspiration bureau? See, Helen the ghost and her other co-ghosts realized that there were many writers who lacked ideas. Okay? And they needed some inspiration to write. Helen and other and her other ghost friends, they were also struggling writers when they were alive. First, you write, so Helen and her ghost friends were struggling writers. You want a pen? Take this.
No, madam.
Hey, pen. What else should I throw? Helen and her close friends were struggling writers when they were alive. After becoming ghosts, they realized there were many authors who lacked ideas and needed some inspiration to write ghost stories. These authors also had weak minds. In order to help them write, Helen and her ghost friends organized the Writers' Inspiration Bureau. Why had Helen the ghost been helping the narrator write ghost stories?
Because she wanted that through this author, he made like it would give a help to the ghost that everyone will stop playing Ouija board.
Why had Helen the ghost been helping the
Because
narrator
it
write
was mentioned that the ghost requested that do not play this Ouija board and write in your story that you are like playing Ouija board with this.
No, first, why had Helen been helping the narrator to write the stories? The narrator lacked ideas. He had soft brain, and therefore she was assigned to help him write more stories, so that he gets some inspiration to write. Okay. Why was she going on strike? She was going on strike as Ouija board players kept her engaged throughout the night, and therefore she was tired. What condition did she place for providing continued help? She asked John to to request and persuade Ouija board players to stop using it. Okay, that is the answer. Samjha? First, why Helen wanted to help? Samjha, three parts.
Because she wanted, because this author was soft-minded,
Did not have any
ideas.
ideas.
And,
Then why was she going on strike? Ouija board.
because this basically all the writers,
No, Ouija board players.
Ouija board players kept engaged the ghost throughout the night. That's why she was going on strike.
Yeah, she was overworked and therefore she was going on strike. You have all these answers. answers online?
There are many websites.
Channel?
By choose and top one and
Yeah. So you get for free. Yeah. So you can
and
always,
there are many one-shot lectures also on YouTube.
but you can always get the answers also.
Remember that technically I get it from school also.
Okay, you get the ready-made answers from school.
No, we write.
Okay.
Sometimes some important question maybe five. And if you want extra, we can get from the website or we can put on Google.
You Google me, you just put the question and you get the answer. On what? Google.
If you want, you can try Google Lens.
Google?
Lens. Basically, there's an option. If you want, you can click a picture and you select which part you want to search. It will give you the results. If you want, you can try to do it.
I should go on Google.
See, if you open Google, there are on top right corner you will see one microphone and a type of camera.
Yeah.
Now it will ask you to access.
Open this page in App Store. I think you have to do. You need a
No,
Google app.
No, we don't need a Google app.
No, I have a Google app also. Google.
See,
Hmm.
on Android there is, and I've never checked. There is no app. This Apple phone also. See, there's an option like.
Yeah, I got the camera. This is also Apple. Only thing the cover is dirty.
No, that's the 11.
Yeah. How do you know? कहीं से दिख भी नहीं रहा है.
Teaches. Because I also used 39, so.
Okay. So, what do I do now?
If you want, you can just take a picture from a clear image.
Okay.
Then you just select which question. If you want CD, so just tap on it there, and it will come select the part.
Yeah.
Then select it, then
Copy.
bottom. Now will search the down right corner search option. वो एक search का emoji the icon बना है.
Yeah.
And it will give you some websites or it can give you an answer in a paragraph. Or if it's difficult so you can type also.
Why had Helen to make his brother stop using the visa board? Only she. Suddenly. Good.
This is a common, everyone uses this.
Oh, they don't even have to type.
No. So you can take a picture and you can select which question, like which part you want to.
Cha. Oh. Okay. So,
I'm writing the answer. Did you got any call from Rekha
I
regarding changes what timing?
you want the timings to be changed?
Basically, I'm just asking if you got any call.
Yeah, she said, but then you know what? It
Because,
has to be 5:30 because all this big group comes at 4:30, 4:30. So then I can finish with them, and then I have continuous classes after this.
Actually, the problem is that I have a class at 7, 6:45 or 7.
So यहाँ से जा सकते हो ना तुम?
नहीं ऑनलाइन रहता है.
तो घर तुम्हारा इतना पास है.
तो भी 10 minutes.
Pass क्या? See, you tend to not come, and I'm on the last part of their portion.
Writing skills over. Everything is finished.
One last writing skill practice we will do in the end.
So like note, sorry, email, diary. Diary is not there.
They don't have their And yours is different.
Like we have this
You have
article,
email.
email,
Yeah, you have email.
factual description.
Yeah, they don't have all that.
And grammar is finished.
Grammar, I'll give 1,000 revision. I'll tell you to come that time. Okay. I'm trying to finish their lessons. Now, hardly 2 lessons are remaining for them.
So now which next session?
After this, what would you like to do?
And the main is this
Julius
Caesar.
Caesar. Okay, should we start with Julius Caesar then? After this?
That is a big, big grammar. It will take 2, 3, 4, 3. Can we finish with this fiction?
Which?
Patol
Babu. Okay,
We'll go the order wise.
order wise only, you think so? In poems, the frog is done. Ozymandias, you wrote the question answers, no? You want me to explain that once?
I saw the lunch of it.
Okay. The rhyme of the ancient mariner, that we will do. It's a long poem. It's a nice one, but it's a very long. Snake is also easy one. What do you want to do? Should we do these 2 poems first? Patrol Babu is also very long, so it will take time. So तुम तब तक थक जाओगे और and then we will think यार मेरा कुछ भी नहीं था. So let's do these 2 lines. This rhyme of an ancient mariner. So next time when you come, we'll do the rhyme of the ancient mariner. How do we discuss these answers then? You get these answers. You'll go home and try to write these answers. Okay. And whichever answer you don't know, you comment. See if you are able to answer these questions. Okay. As I
This
said,
detailed one also.
you try and discuss the detailed ones next time. Okay. Try to keep on. Should I send you the link?
No one also.
We discuss the detailed ones also. Once their portion is done, if you come for 2 hours, the portion will go fast. But you will have to have the patience to come for 2 hours.
And the main problem is that I don't like studying.
Sorry?
I don't like studying.
Yeah, I understand.
And plus prelims are also coming, so there's a full portion for that also. I mean,
Yeah.
holidays from tuition. That's why I'm not coming. Mostly tomorrow also I'll not come. There is full portion, that's why.
You have full portion exam. They have finished everything in your school.
No, prelims are full portion in every school.
Yeah.
Prelims 1 and 2.
Yes, but then have they finished? Now you'll have your prelims when? In November, no? 20. We'll try to.
Mostly, some of the subjects are finished. Just English is remaining. Science, physics, and there are some.
We'll do these 2 poems. Once you finish those 2 poems, a big chunk will be done. So you will also feel कि तुम्हारा कुछ हुआ है. अगर हम लोग पटोल बाबू में अटके रहे ना, तो उसमें भी बहुत टाइम जाएगा. फिर तुमको लगेगा कि अरे कितना टाइम हुआ, कुछ नहीं हुआ.